Okay, so you should have a foot model for your robot, and if you check your different views, it should match up as fairly well to the design. You guys can be your own judge on how well it's working there. We're just using the background as a guide, but you can use your your own creativity if you want to work with this. Okay, so the next step is we need to work on creating a leg for our robot. So that's what I'm going to walk through here. You can see that the leg is kind of to the side of the foot a little bit. What I'm going to do is kind of put the leg in the middle of where the foot is, maybe toward the back, but and you can decide where you want yours. You can use the same kind of technique that I'm going to go over. Alright, so I'm going to go back to make sure I have edged faces selected. Alright, so depending on how many slices or how many partitions or different segments you created in your foot, you'll have some different pieces to work with. But basically, what I'm going to do is going to go edit mode here, or modify mode, and I'll choose polygon, select, and I'm going to select some polygons. I'll hold control down. So one technique is you can use these polygons on the top and extrude them out directly, or you can create a hole and extrude the edges. Alright, since I think through the class creating a hole through this, I'm going to kind of follow those steps. If I created a hole here, I select all of these and I just hit delete key on my keyboard, it removes those faces. But we have kind of a rectangular shape here. We want it to be a little bit more circular for the leg. So I'm going to undo that, Control Z, and I'm going to go back to deselect things. I'm going to go to edge select on the top here. And what I'm going to do here is to basically cut the shape that I want to work with. So with edge select selected, in the edit tool you can find the cut. There's a scissor here. You can read about the tool, but I'm going to turn it on and kind of show you how it works. Once it's on, you can see it's highlighted and your cursor will change. When it's over a polygon, it has kind of a larger target. When it's over an edge, you can kind of tell how the cursor changes to indicate it's touching an edge. And when it's touching a vertex, you can kind of see how that works too. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start here. You're going to left click to start a cut, and you don't have to hold the mouse button down. You just drag, and then you left click again where you want to stop. So I started it right on that vertex, so you could see the cursor change, and then go over this guy right on the vertex. I'm going to keep going, and every time I hit the left mouse button, it's going to create a new cut. Alright, I'm going to keep the tool on, and basically what I'm doing here is making kind of like a diamond shape. Alright, and then I'm done with that series of cuts. I'm going to go out in the open space here and right click. Right click once and the tool is still on. If you right click twice and you turn it off. Alright, next piece I'm going to do is I'm going to make some cuts here from this vertex that touch somewhere around the middle of the other piece, and I'm going to right click each time I do this because I'm not doing a continuous cut like I did before. And to right click, you're just selecting somewhere outside of the model so that it doesn't register it as a cut anywhere. Alright, something like that. Okay, now we're all set. I'm going to deselect by clicking out into space here. There we go. And I've turned off the cut by, if you right click again, it turns off the cut tool. Alright, so now I'm going to go to vertex select mode, and first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select, control click these two vertices since they're kind of further apart, and I'm going to use the let's see, the scale tool, if my computer will cooperate here. Hopefully it's not going to freeze on me. There we go, scale tool. And then this drop down is where you're going to be selecting objects. So click and hold it, and you can do a center of selection, and that's where everything will be scaled. So I'm going to bring these kind of in like this, and then I'll deselect here. And what I'm going to do is select Control click. Holding Control down, you can left click on multiple vertices, and I'm going to kind of move those out a little bit so it's got kind of a circular shape. It does not have to be a perfect circle by any means, but now I kind of have these edges around the top here. Alright, now in class we created a hole here, and then we're going to extrude the edges. Let me show you how to do this if you haven't done it without that, because it might be a little easier. Select the faces, or the polygon select tool, and then control click on each of these, and I want to get out of the scale tool. I'm going to get into the move tool, that's fine. Alright, so now what I want to do is go to the polygon section here and extrude. I'm going to click that arrow and go to the extrude settings. You get a little flyout here, and the top one basically is like the group, and this one is how far you're going to extrude. So you can click the arrow, kind of bring it up like that, and this actually works a lot better than doing the edges. So I can go up like this, and then what I want to do is while I'm doing this, I want to be in one of my views, so either left view or front view. Alright, and since my leg is a little bit off center, what I'm going to do is I'm going to deselect this guy, so I will it undoes my extrusion piece. Oops. Let's go to Object Select and then move it over. There we go. Alright, back to Polygon Select. Okay, so now I want to select these top guys again. I'm going to go to Front View and zoom in. I'm going to go to Extrude in the Polygon section, Extrude Settings, and now you see how it's going to go up. You can add to this by adding extrusions. So there's my first extrusion. And you can scale as you go. So if you scale along the middle, everything can kind of get smaller. And what I want to do is kind of match the taper of the leg here. So I'm going back and forth between the move and the scale tool and the extrusion tool. Alright, so every time I do the extrusion, I can raise it up to go further. Alright, and I can scale it as I go. Can you see how the leg gets a little bit thinner there? I can do the scale tool with those polygons still selected, and I can match the shape of it. Alright, so let's keep going. I can go a little bit, let's zoom in a little bit. Yeah, I can scale a little bit here. Oh, make sure you scale the whole thing. Alright, and then back to Move tool, Extrude, and this one I can probably make a little bit longer because it's still matching, and then scale it out a little bit. Alright, and you can even, if you want to, move it a little bit to match the curve of the leg there, you can do that. Alright, and then I'm going to extrude probably one more time and bring this one down a little bit until I get to part of the body where it connects there. And I think it's wide enough. I'm just going to bump it over a little bit and maybe move it up. Alright, so that's what it looks like from the front. You can take a look from the left, and it kind of looks okay. What you can do is, you can move things after this with vertices and stuff like that to match it up. All right, that's about it. Give that a try.